our oneness in God. So we're going to start by, I found this and I thought that was so cool. Life is good. Okay, so if you'll share this with me. The basic principles of unity. God is, I am, I ask, I pray, I release, and I act. And God is for me, I am for me, my thoughts are for me, my prayers are for me, my releasing is for me, and my actions are for me. So I'm not going to go back because I really need to focus on this week. So if you haven't been able to be here, I encourage you to either get the CDs or you can listen online to the first talks about God is, I am, I ask, and I pray. But here's the thing is, as we get now to the prayer, now it is time to let go and let God. And what this is those beautiful moments following prayer where I breathe and I release. Where now I'm going to give it to God, to the universe, to divine intelligence, so that it can work it out in only the way that God, this divine intelligence, can. This is based on a couple of scriptures this morning. The first is Job 22:28. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine upon thy ways. So I am just going to go back to last week for a moment, because thou shalt decree a thing. And I was reading, there's a lot of resources that I have I love science of mind, and I was reading the daily Science of Mind and an article in there, and I can't remember the author's name, but he was talking about a paradox. And this paradox where do we pray specifically, or do we simply let it be, quote unquote, the will of God? And I love, because he really brought it around to exactly what we teach here, and that is that when we're in this process of asking, as we're moving into prayer, and we're creating our visions, and we're creating our vision boarding or our visualization, that it helps us to become specific in those things. Because as we become specific in those things, we start to feel what it would feel like. And so we want to stretch ourselves a little bit in it, but we still want it to be believable enough that we can feel the essence of it. And we say this or something better, because what we recognize is that in our mind, we can only truly conceive of what we've had in our experience somehow, and we continue to evolve and grow by new experiences. And so this is then where we now move to the will of God. And the will of God is not, quote unquote, a particular, it is always moving in bringing everything together for the greater good. And so, we do our specificity, and then we move into, I now let go and let God. And the light shall shine upon thy ways. And so this is what brings us to the next scripture. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not on thy own understanding. Let's stop right there. Don't lean on my understanding, because my understanding is going to limit me. Because if I have never experienced true financial abundance in my life, then there's going to be parts of me, my understanding, that are going to say it's really not possible. There's only one avenue through which my good can come to me. So I got to get out of my understanding, and I've got to trust in God with all my heart. In all thy ways acknowledge him. Again, reminding us, come back to God, come back to God. It's always about that, isn't it? Come back to God, and he will direct thy paths. And that is absolutely 100% true. And I will say that as we're moving into today in meditation, this is a huge part of the process, so that we can truly discern what is that voice, what is that nudging, what is that something that is directing our paths. Now, letting go and letting God, really should be the easy part, yet I have found that it's one of the hardest parts, And so what does it mean to let go and let God? Now, I'm going to say this. There's a lot of ways that we could look at releasing today. We could look at releasing thoughts. We could look at maybe releasing people or situations. But what we're talking about in particular today is as we're moving through these principles, I've created my visualization, my prayer. So now what we're talking about today is letting go and letting God in that. So one of the biggest things that I'm going to do is I'm going to let go of attachment to the outcome. Oh my gosh. Let go of attachment to the outcome. Trust that everything is working together for the greater good for you and for everyone concerned. Let go of limiting ideas and beliefs. Let go of fighting for limitations. And this is the biggest part right here. Let go of the how. Let go of the how. Because it's none of your business. It really isn't. It will become your business as next week we're going to talk about action, because we definitely are going to move into action. But for this part of it, the asking, the prayer, and the releasing, it's none of your business. Here are some of the things that will come out of this. We're going to say things like, I never would have dreamed that this was possible. I never would have imagined this. I never would have thought of it this way. This was way better than I could have possibly imagined. And how many of us have experienced that? Yes, absolutely. And this is where then our consciousness is expanded, and as long as we stay open, it will continue to be expanded in that. I've shared before that I get daily messages from Tut, which is totally unique thoughts, and these are thoughts from the universe. And this one said, I understand, Sue, that you must wonder, sometimes to the point of bewilderment, at what you're truly capable of doing. Yet therein lies the problem, because living the life of your dreams is far more important. It's far more about what I'm capable of doing. This is God speaking to us, the universe. It's far more about what I'm capable of doing. Wendy Craig Purcell, Unity Minister, in her book, Ask Yourself This, which is a book that Kenneth's class has been doing. Oh, I'm sorry, that Tuesday morning class has been doing. Ask this question: how much room do I give God to work it out? That is a fantastic question. How much room do I give God to work it out? And how much am I in there trying to control it? I remember a while back that a woman had shared with me that she had an epiphany, that she was thinking about this whole idea of being a creator, being a co-creator, and she recognized that being the creator was not the same as being the controller. And for me, that made me stop and think, because I've never believed that I am just the creator. But rather, the movement was that I am a co-creator with the divine intelligence, and it's important for me to do my part. But my job, and your job, it's not to control the outcome. Because guess what? You can't control the outcome. How many of us here believe we can control the outcome? Sometimes. Yes, sometimes we do believe that. And as Dr. Phil says, how's that working for you? Because the reality is we can't ever really control the outcome, but what we do control, my friends, is what precedes the outcome. And, you know, that's where we're working. That's where we're doing our spiritual work. We're doing our spiritual practice. We're listening to Abraham CDs. We're writing visualizations. We're taking the time to feel them. We're praying. We're surrounding ourselves with like-minded people. I love the Intenders group that meets on Tuesday night. They come together for the specific purpose of coming together as like-minded people and supporting each other in their visions and their dreams. But then we let go and let God. We let God take care of the manifestation. And I love, because we did the song last week, This or Something Better. This or Something Better is waiting for me. I'm going to let go of control. I'm going to get out of my way. Why? Because I know the universe conspires to bring me heaven today. And I thought, you know, sometimes I think truth is so simple, because, like, you know, I mean, logically, I think, okay, if I know that I'm going to experience heaven today and all I have to do is let go of control and get out of the way, then to me it's like, duh. But it's not so easy, is it? Because we are so used to trying to manipulate and control most aspects of our life. Okay. I want to acknowledge I have gum in my mouth, but it's because my throat is dry, so I'll either be coughing or having gum. So I wouldn't normally have gum in my mouth as a speaker. Have you ever gotten to the place where you think, you know, what else is there for me to do? because I'm doing my spiritual work, I'm doing my affirmations, I'm doing my visualizations, I'm doing my prayers, I'm doing my vision boarding, I've read umpteen million books, I've come to church, I've gone to workshops, I listen to things online, and I've done everything that I possibly can, and yet nothing seems to be changing, or sometimes it's maybe even getting worse. You know, have you ever felt that? Sometimes it's even getting worse, or more is piling up. And we get to that place, and I know I've been there. What else is it that I need to do? You know, what more can I do? I'm worn out. I'm tired. I wave the white flag. I surrender. I give up. And guess what? That's exactly where you need to be, in that place of absolute surrender. I love this by Robert Holden. One new perception, one fresh thought, one act of surrender, one change of heart, one leap of faith can change your life forever. And I think we've all heard stories about people who have hit that point where, you know, I love the book called Broken Open by Elizabeth Lesser, where we are just broken open. And in that moment of being broken open, we do let go and let God. It's probably one of the first moments that we finally have, you know, unclenched our fist and relaxed, and just we don't necessarily feel empowered in that moment. But that is the most empowering moment that we can possibly have, because we're finally open to this divine intelligence doing its perfect work in and through us. So the point that we want to get to is this: my to-do list, nothing. And trust in God, and God will direct your path. We go back to that scripture. Trust in God, and God will direct your path. So how do we do this? Well, one of the ways that we let go and let God is through meditation. And I think this really is one of the most effective ways, is through meditation. The Revealing Word, Charles Fillmore, says that the fundamental purpose of meditation is to establish communion, a conscious communion with God, a oneness with God. You know, this is truly where we're be still and know that I am God. This is where we truly are surrendering. We're opening up. We're recognizing there is some universal power at work in my life, and we may not be able to define it. And you know, it's best if you can't, because we can't define it. But we know that it exists 100%. You cannot look at life and think that there isn't some intelligence that has created and continues to create everything that we see. Reverend Doug Bottorff, who was a minister here many years ago, has a book, Meditation and Prayer, and he says meditation tunes us in to what we might call a life signal being sent to us from the infinite. This is an important concept to consider because it frees us from the thought that we have to get God's attention before God will respond. We already have God's attention. In fact, we are the manifestation of God mind, concentrated in the place where we are. I love that. We are the manifestation of God mind, concentrated in the place where we are. All we have to do is learn to become sensitive to the broadcast, tune in to an impulse that has been within us all along. You know, and we think about, how do we do that? We do that through meditation. He says the goal of meditation is not to achieve deep relaxation. That's more a byproduct than a goal. The goal is to acquaint yourself firsthand with the pure essence of life before it is colored by your own thinking. Before it's colored by your own thinking. I love that. So why meditate? I loved some of these. If egg is broken by outside force, life ends. If egg is broken by inside force, life begins. Great things always begin from inside. Again, this is we're getting out of control and we're moving back inside. At the center of your being, you have the answer. You know who you are and you know what you want. Where? At the center of your being. I love this. Take a trip out of your mind and into your soul. And it's a great trip. It's a great trip. Will you listen to the chaos in your mind or the whisper of your heart? And this is all about getting out of our heads and getting into our hearts. And create some quiet time today and ask the silence to speak to you about your life. Now, I love, what are some of the benefits of meditation? Because meditation isn't, it's not just because we want to come from the inside. There are actual actual benefits. It reduces pain and embraces the body's immune system, reduces feelings of depression, anxiety, anger, and confusion, increases blood flow and slows the heart rate, provides a sense of calm, peace, and balance, helps reverse heart disease, helps control thoughts, increases energy, and reduces stress. So, meditation is a really, really, really great thing to do. Why meditate? Because it is so good for us mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. How many things can we say are good for us in all that sense? So, okay, how do we meditate? There are many ways of meditating. I want to tell you that there is no one right way. And because you can have people say, you need to sit cross-legged with your thumbs to the east or the north or south or to night. There's no one right way for any of us. And meditation could be walking. You could go on a nice walk in nature and just be with yourself. You could be out gardening and you could be meditating, bicycling or taking a bath or, painting, doing something that you're not necessarily speaking, but it's okay if you're doing, especially if you're doing something you love. Because don't you find that when you're doing something you love, you truly do get out of your mind? I'm like, all of a sudden I can find that I'm not having the chatter as much as I'm just present in the moment. And also, I would recommend that there be some time in your day where you literally take time apart. But don't feel overwhelmed by that. There are some people who will do 30 minutes a day, who will do an hour a day. Deepak Chopra does like 4 hours a day of meditation. Now, how many of us think we could do that? So, do 5 minutes. 5 minutes of set aside time to just breathe, and you can do this if you don't fall back asleep as you're waking up in the morning, or you can do this right before you go to bed. But a lot of people that I know have shared with me too that they have a specific place in their environment. They'll have a room that's dedicated to meditation. They'll have some sacred things in there that mean something to them, that make them think about that inward movement. Sometimes they'll use like an instrumental music. If you're one that can get to that place with a guided meditation, the idea is find something that helps you to just, and I do want to tell you this, that if you haven't practiced meditation, I noticed for myself that those first 4 or 5 minutes, my mind is everywhere, and I feel like I'm never going to get there. But there comes a point that all of a sudden I realize that I'm in a different place. And if you just stay with it, and like I say, even 5 minutes will get you there. The ultimate thing is what Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." And so this is truly the releasing and letting go. This is where we're saying, okay, this is the desire, this or something better, and I know I'm just taking this whole thing and I'm giving it to the universe. And every time I think about how I'm going to say, nope, not my job. And you may have to do that over and over again for a while before you can finally feel that you finally clicked in. One of the things that I want to remind us about is as we're moving through this process is that there is a gestation period. There is a period of time for things to grow. When we get pregnant, we don't just get pregnant and, there comes the baby. There's a gestation period. We see that in nature all the time. We plant the seed, we nurture it on a regular basis, we do whatever it needs for its greatest life expression, and then we wait. Do we get back in there and dig the seed up? Do we get in there and dissect it and say, how do you grow? No. We do what needs to be done, and then we get out of the how. And I love the story of the Chinese bamboo tree. And this is a true story, that the farmer and his wife go out and they plant the seed, the bulb or whatever it is, and in the first year it will grow anywhere from just like a sprout off of the bulb to maybe about 12 inches high. They nurture it, give it everything it needs for that year. The second year, the farmer and his wife go out, they nurture it, they take care of it, and the second year it stays the same height. The third year, They go out, they nurture it, they do everything that they need. The third year, it stays the same height. The fourth year, they go out, they nurture it, they do everything they need. Fourth year, it stays the same height. The fifth year, they go out, they nurture, and they develop it, and for a while, it stays the same height. But all of a sudden, within a 6-week period, that bamboo tree will grow anywhere from 60 to 90 feet in 6 weeks. Now, the thing that we have to look at here is, did it just all of a sudden grow out of nowhere, or did it take the nourishment? Did it take the development? Did it need that time to develop its strong root system in order for it to be able to support that tall of a tree in 6 weeks? You know, of course, we know the answer to that, is that it needed the time that it needed, developing that strong root system. And it's the same for us. It's the same for us, my friends, that, you know, be patient with the process, but also recognize that the farmers did what they needed to do every day. And that's what we're called to do in this process, that we don't just, you know, a week or 2 weeks and this stuff isn't working. We stay with it, we stay with it, we stay with it. We keep knowing. We let our thoughts out and our words, and next week we'll talk about actions, all come together. But that means we have to quit telling the old story in our minds and to other people. We start telling our new story in a way that feels truthful to us. You know, we don't have to lie, but there's ways that it can feel truthful to us, and that it is truthful, I should say, that keeps us moving in the direction that we want to move. And to close, I absolutely, I love these. I forgot I put those in. Just because something isn't working out for you right now doesn't mean that it will never happen. And then this one. John Wolfgang von Goethe. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. The moment one definitely commits oneself, hear that line right there, we commit ourselves, mind, thoughts, words, actions, we commit ourselves, we're doing our practice every single day. That the moment one commits to oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance which no man could have dreamed would come his way. There's a last paragraph, but I'm going to share that next week. And so know that ours this week is simply to give God the room to work it out, to take some time and to allow ourselves to breathe and to go into that silence, to be still and to know God. And think about what it is that you believe about the nature of God before you do that, because we want to really tap in to the infinite immenseness, the potential and possibilities that exist, to give it to God. And just have a happy, wonderful week of letting go and letting God. And so it is. Namaste and amen.